that ended quickly. This is Bonnie Hunter back again from the Quiltville Post Office studio. I was getting ready to add a bobbin to the machine because my bobbin ran out, and I looked up at my camera and the blue light was off, and somehow the whole feed went dead. So now it's asking me all of these questions again. And so share, okay, share, and we're back, I think. I don't know why it died. It's just kind of a crazy, and I've got a really bad bobbin that the thread has just tangled badly on, and I don't know what happened here, so that's not making me really be happy. Do I have any more bobbins? I may just have to wind one. Hang on just a second, because that's not happy. We'll take this thread. I mentioned before that I'm not on the absolute best internet connection, so if there's a blip, it will just end our feed. So we'll blame it on CenturyLink, but it's the best thing we've got out here, so we can't blame them too hard or we won't have anything. We just want enough bobbin. Okay, to keep me going. And looks like that thread's out too. So I'm having one of those days. We're trying to piece a quilt backing, and the camera died, and the bobbin ran out, and now because I wound this bobbin, the top thread is out. So maybe I should just give it up and see what's going on in your world. And I think, because it scrolls so fast, that maybe I'll pop it up on my phone instead of trying to find what's going on the laptop, because it was just scrolling so fast I couldn't even hardly read what your names were and things like that. So let's get this going here, and this is try number 2. Come on, phone. If it'll get there. There we go. Okay, so I need the sound down, and there we go. So Susan says, good to see you. This is the first time I'm catching you live. Well, if you tried 5 minutes you would have caught me again. We've had a little bit of technical difficulties and had to restart the feed. So if you missed the first part, go back to my Quiltville page on Facebook and you'll find that first part of the feed just below this one on my page. Dawn says, what do you use to attach your piecing guide to your machine? My piecing guide is a piece of hotel room key that I cut to width, and then, let's see if I have it in here. It might not be in here. Do I have it here? I don't. So I have this little tin. Sheets card. Random hotel cards. Expired. This was part of an expired Walmart gift card. This one says, welcome to Kentucky. But I use these. So again, this is part of the create and sustain movement, right? So the strips that I use, there's a couple different kinds. Let's see. Oh, yay, this is my favorite. This is the Scotch restickable strips. So it's poster tape. It's removable, so it's safe for your machine bed. It's a double stick, and it's 3/4 of an inch wide. So I cut my hotel room key with an old rotary cutter blade, 3/4 of an inch wide, and I put this double stick tape on the back side of it, and then I measure where my 1/4 inch needs to go, and I stick that hotel room key down as a guide. And because this is double stick, it really sticks. I know there are other things out there that you can purchase from the quilt shop that stick for 5 minutes. It's like 5 strips for $5 that stick for 5 minutes. Purple vinyl, whatever, foamy little things. This has been on here since the last time I cleaned it under my feed dogs, and it sticks really well and it won't harm. Now this, you can get this at Walmart, you can get it on Amazon. 1 roll, 3/4 of an inch, it's got like 4.5 yards on it. So how long is that gonna last me? And then we always end up with, you know, cards in the mail, gift cards, dinner cards, leftover credit cards. Just be sure you don't use the part with your number. All that kind of stuff. So this tape plus these cards gives me what I have here on my machine. It's enough of an edge I can feed my fabric against, but here's the other bonus part. It doesn't stick up really high. So if I'm doing something like stitch and flip corners where I need to sew next to a line, I can still lift that up and over without it causing me a problem. I don't have to pull this off. So thank you for asking. That gives me an opportunity to share something that I dearly love. These are things that reuse, create, sustain, right? And if you can't find that double poster tape, Scotch also has these sticky strips. I feel like they have a little bit too much height to them. It's like a rubber double stick tape. They don't stick as long. So this poster tape is the best. And just make sure that it says removable poster tape. I think you can see that. It's right there in a blue, removable poster tape. Okay, so that's those. And let's see what else is going on here. This actually works better because I can scroll it. So Wenda says, I do junk journaling, making my own journals from all kinds of papers. My next project will be a quilted cover. I am just not sure yet about the design. Stars, perhaps? And she says, hugs from the Netherlands. Oh, that's just great. And Natalie says, great idea with a double stick and old cards. Okay. So we do what we can to use what we have to keep stuff out of the landfill. And this is a conversation we've had a lot at my house. Going to the grocery store is just really difficult anymore. And the amount of stuff that we bring home, everything is in disposable plastic, from your mustard to the mayonnaise to the syrup bottle to copious amounts of styrofoam and whatever else. And I was remembering when I was a kid in elementary school, milk just came in those cardboard containers, you know, where you pinch the thing and you pull the spout out and that's what it is. And the individual ones that we had at lunch in school were just the mini versions of the big ones that we had at home, or things came in glass. Now, that was the last thread tail from what I was running on here. That's not going to work. So let's do, I want one with enough thread on it. I'm trying to use up old sewing machine, quilting machine bobbins that don't have enough to do a whole pass. And I usually wind bobbins on those, but we'll stick that on here. Okay. But it just feels like we're paying a lot of lip service to the differences that we can make in our own lives, because the manufacturers still keep manufacturing the way that they've always manufactured. So I would absolutely love it if we went back to cardboard milk cartons, if we went back to glass jars of mayonnaise. And I know that creates a whole problem with, then we got to recycle that, but the laundry soap stuff ending up, you know, the bottle of, I try to use the little pods, but those pods are coming in a plastic big jug, right? Why can't those come in a cardboard box or something that was more sustainable? So tell me what your peeve is that you'd like to be sustainable. Just something to think about. Though there's things that I never want to give up, like Ziploc bags. Those are not sustainable, but boy, do I reuse those and reuse those and reuse those and reuse those. There we go. Now we've threaded and we got a bobbin in. This is when piecing a quilt backing takes 3 times as long as it should. Okay, so we have thread, top and bottom. I'm going to finish this seam. Okay, thread in the trash, put it over there. And this is column number 3. It's a skinny one. Yep, tension's good. my biggest peeves, and it's been, I wouldn't call it a peeve, but maybe let's change that. Let's just call it an encouragement. I have been encouraging retreat groups to stop with the paper plates and the plastic silverware when they come on retreat. I have all of the dishes, all of the silverware that they could use for a really nice sit-down meal instead of all the disposable stuff. Paper's not as big of a deal for me because paper is a renewable resource. I just really don't like the plastic and the styrofoam stuff. And the dishwasher is there, and I provide the dishwasher soap. So it's not that hard to load the dishwasher and run it. And I'm trying to do that at home as well, stopping with all of the disposable silverware and plastic plates and stuff like that. But what else can we do, really? What else can we do if the manufacturers don't start stepping up their game and giving us options? Okay. Third column down. So this is where I'm going with this so far. Unrelated. They are completely unrelated to each other. They are just getting out of the box, but this puts me almost halfway with what I need for this quilt. And I think it's going to be a fun backing. Do you really look at the backings of quilts? You know, I do. I like them to be related somewhat. It ties in somewhat. But I also think it makes it a lot of fun to use up the stuff that's been sitting around for a long time. Use it as a back. Get it out of there. And by all means, buy more once this is used up and has found a place, because it's not getting any newer as it sits. All right, I'm going to grab 2 more pieces, and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is the next couple of sections. Big, giant, purple watercolor cabbage roses. Can we say hello 1980 something, 90 something? I think I had a dress out of something similar like this. This reminds me of the fabric that they used to make those ladies one-piece jumpsuits with the balloon legs. It's better as a quilt back. And then here's a modern piece. This was left from a backing, and it was just the margins after getting the quilt quilted and trimmed. This is what was left. And it's just enough, these big giant honkin' flowers, to piece a skinny column to go in between some wider ones. And it'll be out of the box, because what else am I going to do with this, really? Really, it's pretty, I like it, I love the colors, but now that it's not a big piece of yardage anymore, what am I going to do with this? I think it's 6 inches wide. I'm not going to cut it up into smaller pieces to sew a block, because you'd never be able to see what that block really was. So into the backing it goes, next to the purple cabbage roses from 1980 something. And we'll start this end. So this is going really, really quickly, even with bobbin out and thread out and QuiltCam disconnected. Like it. They're unrelated to each other. One's modern, one is more like abstract watercolor traditional, but it's okay. All right, so that's coming down. That's coming down the pipelines. I want to see what else you are saying. So Bernadette says, how big of pieces do you use for your leaders? Anything. It just depends on what you want to make. Our Leader Ender Challenge that is just winding up, it'll be done in July, is called Easy Breezy. It's under the free patterns tab on my blog. So head over to the blog at quiltville.blogspot.com and scroll down the free patterns tab till you hit E for Easy Breezy. I've presented that block in 2 different sizes. One finishes at 4 inches and the other finishes at 6. So you can choose which block in which size you want to make. You can choose your own fabrics, you can choose your colorway. You could decide, I'm only going to make a table runner with this, or I'm just going to make blocks until I think I have enough to put together a baby quilt or maybe a throw for the couch. You can go as big as you want. So we don't give you a full pattern. It's only a block design, just as an idea of something that you can do in between the seams. So I hope that that helps. Susan says, good to see you. This is the first time I'm catching you live. Well, welcome. Glad to have you. And there's Irene. Lost you when you were talking about mystery. So yeah, Irene, that feed died. We started a new one because Facebook pulled a blip on me. Okay, or maybe it was my internet. I don't know. I just looked up and the camera was out. So back on the mystery part, we will give you that information by Halloween. So there's plenty of time to, let's not think about the mystery yet. I want to enjoy spring and summer. Okay, all right. And these strips are so long and my rolly chair is rolling right over them. So I don't know if you can see, I've got a seam right here. There's another seam on the piece underneath as well. So even though each column is one fabric from top to bottom down the quilt, I sometimes had to piece those to get the column that long, and seams don't bother me that direction. We just try to have them offset, but I'm looking at these and they're very close together. Oh well. Just really happy to have this fabric leaving the stash and not going into the landfill. So on Sunday, it was 51 degrees when we took some ladies up to hike at the Appalachian Trail to see the wild ponies. Gals from Texas were on retreat here. 51 degrees, windier than heck, freezing your ears. We did it with our coats and our jackets and our hats and our gloves. Then Monday, we made a plan to go bike on the Virginia Creeper Trail, and the temperature hit, I think, 72. Yesterday here it was 80, so we just went completely from winter to summer, and I've got my air conditioner running because it's just too hot outside so quickly. Okay. I love the colors in this fabric. It really does feel like spring. Alrighty, so I'm going to go way to the bottom to see what just came in. It says, would love to see the topic posted so that we know if it's one to watch. What topic? Where? I don't know. All I did was click live. I go back and edit later if I need to add a blurb about what happened on this, or I'll have to add if it was part 1, part 2, because we got booted. Mentioned that it moves and needs to be rechecked. On the seam guides. Yeah, it's always good to do a little seam test to make sure that your sticky hasn't wiggled the older it is. So if I clean underneath my feed dogs after every 6 bobbins, that little sticky guide needs to come off in order for me to remove that bobbin plate, because I'm sewing on a vintage machine, at which case it gets new sticky. So that kind of helps. I hope that helps somebody. Let's see. Going way up to the top. Carolyn Jones says, happy birthday to somebody. Happy birthday. And Tamara says, sound and pictures are both good with sewing and widening a bobbin. So that's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. because I was worried trying to figure out. We went for a whole year with no QuiltCam because there wasn't really anything to talk about. It was all COVID-y all the time. Okay, and this one is ending right where this seam is, so I'm going to, can I get that piece off there? Yep. So this may go into the string bucket because how am I going to cut this into anything that will be really usable? It's really big and chunky. So that will probably go in the string box. And there's the end of that strip. Okay, so then this one will be joined to the other one, and after that I think I only have one more panel to add, and then my backing will be done. So as I work on this today, I'll get it all pieced and pressed, and I promise to take a photo and post it so you can see how it turns out. And then once it's quilted and trimmed and bound and everything, I'll do another photo so that you can see how fun a pieced backing is on a quilt. It might not work for your quilt this time around. It might work next time. I know a lot of folks who love to take the leftover fabrics from the front of the quilt and find a way to incorporate them into the back. It really does become something personal for you to use up the things that you have. I mean, these are big pieces. They're going. Create and sustain, right? Okay. Let me flip back here. The thing about checking in on my phone is I have to refresh the page to get to the new comments. And, wow, 116 comments here. This one says, Diane says, I'm still working on frolic hand piecing. So thank you so much. I love to hear about the hand piecing going on and the hand quilting going on. Now that we've reached warmer weather, I think there's going to be less hand quilting going on for me to be underneath that quilt. But back by fall, I'll be back at the hand quilting. And let's see. Peggy says, love watching your lives and I miss QuiltCam. Well, that's why we're trying to bring it back. And Esther says, I've traced my family line to Hull, England, Leslie. So they're having a little conversation there, and that's just awesome. And let's see. Piece backings are as much fun as the front, says Cheryl. And let's see, Leslie says, look for FB site, Hull, the good old days. So they're still having their little conversation about England. So that's wonderful. And I think that's... Tina Lockwood sent 99 stars. Thank you, Tina. I have no idea what stars do, really, but thank you. Thank you, Facebook, for adding things to this. Mary says she just got a 301, and she loves her featherweights as well. I do, too. The 301 in this cabinet is my favorite go-to machine, and because they just sew so fast. They're so powerful. There's no belt. It's all gear-driven. It's just a wonderful, wonderful machine. I have a Singer 201 that it's also a direct drive machine, and that's the one I do all my bindings on. So I have several machines that have specific jobs, and I know that there are machines that can do absolutely everything, but this is like having all my friends around me. So I just love that. One of the things I wanted to mention, there was a question on, do we get to have QuiltCam regularly now? As I mentioned in episode 1 that happened before the camera went off and we had to restart episode 2, is finding the time. I am unable in my schedule to have a set time every week to do a QuiltCam. So I will probably just be popping them in here unannounced, impromptu. And you can always come back to my page and find them if you miss them. You don't have to be here to actually watch them. You can watch them after the fact. I do embed them in my YouTube channel after the fact. I'm so far not doing anything to stream to Facebook and YouTube at the same time. Hello, I have no producer. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are usually my days in between having groups here on retreat. My housekeeper Susan is here today getting everything ready for this afternoon's group. They're arriving about 4:30. So I thought, well, shoot, it's in between breakfast and lunch. and the group isn't here till later, and I have something to sew, so I thought I would pop in. I will try to pop in more often, but maybe not for as long of a time frame as we used to do. Finding an hour is it's difficult. Life is getting back busy again, but I will do everything that I can to pop in more often and to include you on what's going on around here. So my plan for now is to finish piecing this backing and to get things ready to maybe load that quilt so I can quilt it tomorrow, and then get the house ready for the retreat group that's showing up. What is happening for your day? I'd love to hear it. I am just grateful that you took time out of your day to spend some time with me today, and I hope you get some time to put some thread through some fabric today, whatever it is, or maybe just press and cut. Sometimes days are just good for press and cut. Whatever makes you happy, keep doing it. Do more of it. And it makes me happy to be here. So I'm going to head on and continue to piece my backing off camera, and I hope that we'll be able to do this again soon. Until then, I'll see you later. Have a wonderful afternoon, everybody. Bye-bye.